Surya Saha, the author of The Digital Choices, and you're listening to the Insurtech Story podcast, the platform to spread knowledge on insurance innovation, digital disruption, and entrepreneurship. Our website, insurtechstory.com, and we are available on Spotify, Apple, and Google. Welcome to today's show, where we will discuss on the topic how insurance is rising to the challenge of digital transformation. And for now, I'm delighted to welcome our guest, Mark McDonald, who is the head of Insurtech strategy at Altus Limited. Mark has over 10 years of experience working in financial services, and he joined Altus in 2018 with a focus on general insurance. With a background in technology and significant experience across a variety of retail financial services verticals, Mark works with clients on shaping business transformation and strategy development. Mark's main interests are around the use of emerging technology to enhance customer experience and improve operational efficiency, particularly where there are opportunities to prevent claims as well as keeping a close eye on the insurtech industry. So, Mark, welcome on board, and I'm truly excited to have you for the show.
Hi, good afternoon, Surya. Likewise, thank you very much for inviting me to be a guest on your podcast series here at Insurtech Story. It's certainly a very interesting topic that I'm looking to be discussing today.
My pleasure, Mark. So, Mark, can you tell us a bit on what's your role at Altus?
Yes, absolutely. So thank you as well for the kind introduction. As you say, I've been in insurance now for 12 years, following early part of my career in IT. And I initially started out working for a large retail organization over here in the UK before I joined Altus Consulting. I now work with a large number of major insurers, as you pointed out, and I've also been building up our insurtech capability within the organization as well. A particular interest for me really is around two areas. First of those is the use of data to improve customer experience. And then the second part of that is the ability to create networks and ecosystems of technology solutions that can be deployed quickly and efficiently. And I think that's a really interesting angle when it comes to talking about digital transformation within insurance.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is the the new normal that's we are going to experience in insurance, and I just hope the industry globally is fast enough to adopt to such changes that we are witnessing today.
Absolutely, I think it's going to be interesting as we see the next few years open up in terms of how and where that goes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Mark, due to the interest of time, let me just quickly move on to our first discussion point, which is, insurance companies were initially slow to embrace digitalization, but have finally realized that it is vital if they want to stay competitive with insurtech disruptors. So, what would you suggest the industry to get the right start and perhaps the right momentum for this journey towards digital transformation?
I think let's pick up, first of all, on your first point there around the insurance industry itself. We need to compare the insurance industry with customers' expectations. Everything in people's lives has gone through quite a significant stage of digital transformation and digitalization. And insurance seems to be one of the last major industries to really be going through that process. The expectations of a consumer nowadays to interact digitally with their insurer has grown significantly, certainly in the last 5 years. Primarily, that's because those expectations are built on other industry verticals. Look at retail, look at banking, look at travel. They're all examples of industries where digital transformation has been embraced and truly disrupted. Take retail, you've got Amazon with everyone else effectively following that internet retail experience now. So consumer expectation has changed dramatically. Banking, we could track that all the way back to the 1950s and 60s with the introduction of credit cards, just being the birth of what is today the cashless society we live in. And then, with travel, I don't know about you, but I certainly buy all of my travel online anymore. I can't remember the last time I ever went into a travel agent to book a holiday or book my flights or anything. So as a consumer, when it comes to insurance, I want that to be digital as well. And so I think the pressure is on insurance companies is from consumers themselves. And consumers will vote with their feet when it comes to moving their insurance policies around organizations, particularly when they are dealing direct with an insurer. Um, and then on top of that, we've got other pressures from other areas as well. So I think, such as obviously operational cost reduction and the challenges of the global pandemic over the last 18 months. So COVID has certainly forced a number of insurers, particularly here in the UK, to digitise their processes. Um, so to answer your question, what should that industry do with the face of this background? Um, and I think really it comes down to looking outside the industry, not necessarily digitizing what they do now, take the same process and put it online, but actually take the learnings from the other industries rather than just trying to put a digital front end on a contact center journey. Ensure as well that you've got a right mix of skills across the organization. So in conjunction with the insurance experts that are within the organization, also look to bolster your staff with digital experts, bringing in that expertise around user experience and customer experience that may not necessarily reside naturally within the organization. And then start to think about redesigning customer journeys and back-end processes from a digital perspective, rather than taking that existing cumbersome process, digitizing it. Um, and then I guess all of this comes into anything for any large financial services company. Change is slow. So we have to consider the cultural change that's required as well to really become an effective digital organization. So learnings from inside and outside of insurance, really, to see where that digital transformation is done well and think about the culture.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Customer experience is, I think, what, according to me, also would be the first starting point for any digital
Mm,
journey that any sector wants to take. Now, looking outside the insurance industry, if you look at the entertainment industry, how people used to watch movies and how we do the same now, through
mm,
Netflix and Amazon Prime and etc. So it's a vast difference, and we just have it at the fingertip. So why do we have to make any more effort to even go out, especially, you know, in a situation like today's when all of us are homebound?
yes.
So I think this is actually going to change a lot of stuff, and of course, it is making a lot of us lazy, but we like it that way, I think.
I don't like to think of it as laziness. I like to think of it as more efficient. um, we can do more. We can do more from home. We can do more remotely, absolutely.
Yeah,
And I think
absolutely. I mean,
organizations
l-
have
like
to
like you
have to
mentioned,
embrace that.
like you mentioned the traveling part. So I do all my bookings as well, just through mobile apps, be it booking.com or be it any sort of flight booking. So this I don't think I have, just last 5 years I have actually approached any travel agent for doing that. So before
Mm.
it was just
It,
websites, and now it has just gone to apps. So that is
yes,
the major transition that has happened, but it's just sitting at one place.
yes, it's still able to do it from your
Yeah,
at the time that you want to do it, and I think that's a key
yeah.
consumer pressure on any industry in terms of
Yeah.
digital transformation.
Absolutely, and if you look at the insurance industry as well, and if you just see this tech startups. I mean, sorry, not you can't call them a startup anymore. They're the giants.
Mm.
So Amazon, for example, in US, they have forged into the insurance sector, right? They are providing insurance. They are providing education loans just through their mobile app. That is
Yes.
something very very exciting.
It is, and I think there's a real pressure from technology organizations or technology first organizations, should we call them, to disrupt some of the traditional industries, and obviously insurance is ripe for that disruption, and that I guess is the real challenge for incumbent organizations to face into. So it's it's an interesting area when you consider the vast, and as I said in my my introduction, I'm really interested around the use of data. And I think where technology vendors or technology companies have that vast suite of data that sits behind them, particularly the knowledge of a customer, you think how powerful that can be for an industry that, like insurance, which has been built on the foundations of data, that has got to be game changing. When you consider the news around the likes of Tesla, for example, who are looking to launch their own insurance company because they believe they can provide their insurance much more efficiently and effectively for their customers, cheaper for their customers than any of the incumbent insurers because they own that entire value chain from end to end, both the vehicle, the data, the information, and the information about the driving to provide the right tailored quote for a customer.
No, absolutely. Like for example, you mentioned data rightly there. I think we need a robust insurance policy for protection of data now. I think
Mm.
that's the major asset that any company, whichever sector you look at, that's what they possess. And you also mentioned about Tesla. I think from an automotive company, they are also trying to move into the insurance field. And I mean, a day or two before, I just read the news that Budweiser is also getting into insurance business. So
Yes, I saw the headline for that
that
one. I
that
haven't read
that
it yet,
was
but
that was incredible. I mean, that is something. Wow. Okay, Budweiser insurance. Okay, that's cool.
it could be interesting. I definitely need to have a little bit more of a look at that one.
So that's pretty cool. So Mark, moving on, just continuation from our previous discussion. Um,
Yeah.
what benefits of digital transformation you think would bring for the insurance companies, be it incumbents or the insurtech startups? Of course, insurtech
Yeah.
startups are the natives who are the digital savvy ones, but overall, if you look at the companies who are actually product or service based.
Yeah, of course. And I think we really have to look at three areas for this. I think certainly there is an improvement in customer experience. That you and I are on the same page when it comes to customer experience being incredibly important for any organization, particularly insurance. But there's also, from a customer experience point of view, it bugs me that as a consumer, I can't decide what channel I want to interact with my insurer. I still get documents through the post. I don't want to have the letters, I want the emails. I don't want to have to speak to somebody about a claim when I want to just put all the information into an email or into a form. And I can't do that with my insurer. So improving that customer experience is a real benefit because then customers will stay and you get that tail of customer advocacy from there. Also, I think employee experience as well is absolutely an area which will benefit any organization, but particularly insurance. We're opening up the organization and the industry to new markets, improving engagement amongst existing employees with new systems and more, arguably maybe more interesting work as well. So not having to spend half a day going through processing same activities all the time, but actually being able to do something much more engaging from an employee point of view, from a work point of view. And then finally, I think the last area, which I think everybody is fully aware of, is that with digital, you do get a lower cost base. You can reduce operational costs with new technology taking over existing processes. So, absolutely, kind of key benefit is obviously that lower cost activity, lower cost base there as well. And I think all three of those contribute to being important factors within the industry. Naturally, contribute towards an increase in profitability. And I think to your point about startups and tech vendors, they're already on that journey, a long way down that journey, because they're already doing those three areas. And I believe that insurers need to catch that up.
Yeah, that's a very valid point out there. We are more than the application, the digital transformation word or the concept is also becoming kind of you know a hyped kind of a thing that everyone wants to pursue to look cool,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
So, many startups, for example, they are getting into the journey, but uh, more than half are not actually able to continue it. Of course,
Mm.
there are capital reasons, but the main problem that is that is like haunting them is the right product to address the right need of the customer of the market. Now, the customer is more millennials now, and the right customer experience through a digital object is something that somewhere it's going wrong for them. So, what would you say would be the key ingredients to achieving a digital transformation success journey? You know,
I think for any large organization, we're all naturally looking at not just the three areas of people, process, and technology. Sorry, Sarah. Can we just restart that question part again? Apologies, I've
no,
stuck my.
yeah, I just wanted to know that, what according to you would be the key ingredients to achieve success in digital transformation from an insurance perspective.
Yes, absolutely. So from a to achieve digital transformation from any large organization, naturally we will be distilling it into three areas of people, process, and technology. Um, need to consider the culture aspect of the employees and so on through the people side, looking at the processes and changing those, redesigning those from the ground up, and then bringing in the technology as well. But I also like to think in insurance that we have to add a fourth one in here, and that is product. Consumer requirements are different nowadays from what they were 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago. So, for your motor insurance, we shouldn't just be thinking about cars that are petrol or diesel, but what about electric vehicles and what does the impact of that have to a traditional motor insurance policy? From a household insurance perspective, my house is littered with connected devices. So why can't the fact that I have a Ring doorbell benefit my insurance in some way because I've got a video camera that's active at the front of my house? Um, Also, people are changing. People are changing how and where they live. So renting much more, particularly here in the UK. So that renters insurance isn't just a contents insurance policy anymore. It needs to be thought about in a very different way than it maybe was previously by insurers. But all of this I recognise is a big challenge when you think about most insurers have got large legacy backbooks of business that are very, very hard to change. So what is the real challenge there in terms of incumbents and how do they keep up? I guess is where we need to answer that question and support insurers in terms of achieving that digital transformation through that process.
Right, right. Yeah, Mark, the right question that we are trying to address today is how insurance is rising to the challenge of
Mm,
digital transformation. And you have, brought out a very valid, areas some time back is on the people, process, and also you mentioned on culture. So, if I
mm.
may ask, what are the phases of digital transformation for the insurance sector?
So I don't want to just think about this in a fairly staged approach of phase one do this, phase two do this, and so on.
Right.
But I do think right at the beginning, you have to look at yourself as an organization, first of all. Look at yourself in terms of the maturity of your digital capability. Chances are that within that organization, there's already some great technology already in the estate. So use it and maximize the benefit of that existing technology where you can. Um, Consider what can change. If you haven't got that technology, what needs to change? What does the business think needs to change? So get that buy-in from the business. This is a business-driven project. It's not an IT-driven project. So really focus around that. And then I think as well, there's an aspect around starting small. Don't do everything at once. You're not going to be able um, to digitalize the entire kind of crown jewels of the business with the large major books that you have. It's a long and painful process, but obviously it doesn't have to be. So prove you can do it with a small product. I think an example of that over here in the UK is I mentioned renters insurance earlier, and Halifax, a part of the Lloyds Banking Group, they partnered with Trove to provide the technology behind their renters product. And straight away, we see the benefits of partnering with a technology vendor to introduce a new product to market and launch that as if they're a startup, but a hugely established brand. They've got a lot of that brand credibility behind them as they launch that product. And that demonstrates a business case within the organization. So there's showing the value of what can be achieved by digital transformation. But there's also some, I think also within that, you've got to recognize as part of that business case, the commercial disadvantages. I remember talking to one particular insurer over here, and they have a fully digital platform end to end and fully digital products. It's a non-core brand for them, but it is an important brand for them, particularly on the price comparison websites here. And they allow their customers to cancel their policy online, but they know that that's a risk to their commercials of the product, because without that interaction, where you could traditionally have saved the sale, you may lose that customer. But they think that the overall benefit of the policy will outweigh that because of the ability to be a solely digital product for those customers. And then I think as well, you've got to include the aspect of test and learn. There's absolutely minimal effort in adding a button to a website asking customers to click to make a claim. Even if you haven't got a claims journey that sits behind it, you're building the numbers, you're building statistics, you're figuring out the value within that element of a digital journey. Put up a web form to capture details and then call the customer back, but then build behind the scenes or use or buy in the technology that supports that part of the value chain for insurance. And then only then will you start to introduce digital in a way within the organization before the ability to change out that major policy administration system or claims administration system that sits in the back end.
Right. Yep. I was very much impressed with the culture part of how it actually plays a role in digital transformation journey of any organization. And you have just mentioned some time back. So changing an organization's culture, it does not just mean to communicate a set of mind or an idea or any sort of a directive, right? So, and some insurers, or have been around for almost 200 years, over which they have evolved with their culture, their structure, and how they do things. And habits definitely take time to undo, and change happens, at an eventual course of time. So, what would be your piece of advice for our listeners and the insurtech professionals with respect to building the right culture to like nurture the digital journey of this?
I think that's a really good question. I do think, as you say, culture is incredibly important. You can't, the saying obviously is you can't lead a horse to water and expect it to drink, but we have to be there to demonstrate. You have to bring in people who have already got that experience and knowledge and understanding of the digital world. So, as you say, trying to change the culture of a 200-year organization is a very slow process, but actually bringing in leaders, managers, employees throughout the levels of an organization who have got experience working in other industries where digital transformation has happened is really important. It's making insurance an attractive industry to others, to people who are out there looking for the next challenge. I think one of the most exciting things of my job is talking to insurtechs, startups who are right at the beginning of that journey because they have a wonderful idea and absolutely see the benefit of it in insurance. But the really difficult challenge is selling that into an organization that knows has got the legacy of a back book or a manual processes or paper-based approaches to doing business. And you see from the outside, you see so much value in what they're doing and what they're achieving. Um, but how do you get that into that type of organization? And I think really there is a case of, as a large organization, do you go out there? Do you bring in new people? Do you bring in and buy some of that technology? Do you partner with insurtechs? There are many, many different ways to do it, and I think it does come down to each individual case. But there are opportunities to bring in digital experts, to partner with insurtechs for particular solutions, as well as thinking and changing from the ground up.
Absolutely, partnership, bringing people together, engaging with like-minded experts in the same field who are trying to make a difference in the
Mm,
industry. I think this is one of the right way to go ahead.
yes.
That's a great point there, Mark. Um,
Mm,
so we are coming to the end of this session. So thank you, Mark. It was a fantastic discussion, and thank you for sharing your thoughts there. It was truly, truly a delight to have you as our guest today. And lastly, to wrap this up, thank you for listening and see you at our next episode. Take care and stay safe. Goodbye for now.